Hey, it's John Moore here, and I am a shamanic practitioner and teacher. And today I'm going to talk to you about core shamanism and core shamanism training. It's a term you might have heard. You might wonder what that means. And so I'm going to start out by talking about core shamanism, what it is, and then I'm going to talk about what training in core shamanism might look like if you were interested in undertaking training in core shamanism. So, core shamanism is essentially shamanism that is removed from specific indigenous cultures. Indigenous cultures all over the world, at least 100 Native American tribes, people in Siberia, people in Africa, all over the world. People practice shamanism and have maybe for more than 100,000 years. And in the 1970s, some anthropologists, notably anthropologist Michael Harner, who is the founder of the, I think it's the Foundation for Shamanic Study, or the Society for Shamanic Study these days. It's changed name a couple times. And he passed away a few years ago, but he developed a curriculum around practices that were common in every shamanic culture. And so, it easily be determined by, through anthropological study that cultures in South America, cultures in northern Scandinavia, cultures in Africa, cultures in Siberia, there are things that they have in common. There are things that they do that are not culturally specific. And I believe he coined the term core shamanism, and that is taught today in a lot of places, and it's something that I teach. The main practice of core shamanism is shamanic journeying, and I have another video that talks a lot about shamanic journeying and what that is, but it's essentially an altered state of consciousness in which a shamanic practitioner or a shaman leaves their body in spirit form, travels in other realms, spiritual realms, and works with helping spirits, works with spirits to bring back information or healing or do other types of work. And so those three things combine into shamanic journeying. And that is the main thrust of core shamanic training. There are lots of other practices that go along with that. And those are sort of, if you were to go down the road of becoming a shamanic practitioner where you're working with other people, there's a long-term, or there should be a long-term training commitment for that, training initiatory process. I think it was at least several years into training, somewhere between 3 and 5 years before I started seeing any clients. Very heavy, training, apprenticeship, initiatory processes. I've gone through teacher training, all kinds of stuff. There are a bunch of practices that are sort of allied with that are constellations around that. One is learning how to do soul retrieval, and one is learning how to do ancestral healing, and one is learning how to do shamanic extraction. And I will have videos about all of these, so it doesn't, this video doesn't get too long and I describe everything under the sun. Shamanism is a very big topic. There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff we do in shamanism. But that is essentially core shamanism. And core shamanism training, you would normally do an intro to shamanic journeying class, maybe over a weekend or several days, where you would learn the very basic practice. And then you would go off and practice that for a while. You would meet some helping spirits that you would work with. You might do an apprenticeship. They tend to range between 1 and 2 years for kind of a basic apprenticeship. Then I have done a 2-year initiatory program, which is very intense, and it is very sort of life altering, changes you as a person, which is really what needs to happen to become a practitioner, to work with other people. You can't take a weekend class or even really a year long apprenticeship and then, really ethically go work on people, work with people as a healer, as a shamanic practitioner. It's just, there's just too much, and there's too much stuff you're going to encounter that you haven't trained for, and ways of working with people using healing language, all kinds of stuff. And so you really need quite a lot of training before you should be hanging out a shingle and saying, I'm ready to give me some clients. Let me work on some people. But some people practice shamanism for many, many years and never have the intention of becoming a practitioner. And this is really where core shamanism shines. So in an indigenous culture, if you were to be chosen to be a shaman for, whatever their criteria is to be chosen to go through shamanic training and initiation, it would be your job. Like you don't have a choice but to work with other people. But with core shamanism, a lot of people practice just for personal spiritual development, and it's fine, and it is a perfectly fantastic path. Was my main goal of training when I first went into shamanism, is just to work on myself, just to do healing with myself, to develop spiritually, to develop a closer contact with, the universe, the rest of the world, divinity, what have you. So that's kind of it. I hope you will consider subscribing to this channel. The more people who subscribe, the more I can share my passion for the study and practice of shamanism, and watch some of my other videos. I've got lots of stuff coming up, and I'll talk to you real soon.